Alright, this is John Cola with GrowingYourGreens.com with the garden update. So you can see here, I'm actually standing on my neighbor's property here, on the property line. Oh, actually on his property, and the property line is the wood there, and we have some things planted, some tomatoes on an earlier segment on his property that he's allowing us to plant and share the harvest. And then over here what we did, we made a raised bed, and my soil level is a little bit higher than his, so we put a small retaining wall. And what we did was I got some trellis material, actually, which was actually in the dumpster outside the local drugstore. They were remodeling, and they were throwing this store display rack out, but guess what? It's like 2" by 2" spacing, and it'll work perfect for trellis. So what we did was we basically screwed it in to the existing fence at 2 points, and then we set some rebar into the ground to secure it, and we used some tie wraps, plastic zip ties, to secure it upright. And you can see over here, if we go over here, we've already planted it out. I had these going in the greenhouse. This is actually called chayote squash, and if you look in the stores, you'll never see chayote squash seeds for sale. That's because the fruit in itself is the seed. So what you'll do is you will go to an Asian market or Mexican market where they often sell chayote, and you will find one that's starting to split, much like an avocado pit will split. The seed inside the chayote will split and send out a little shoot and roots out of the chayote, and you could easily see this. There'll be a crack near the top of the fruit where normally the stem would go in, and you will see the roots coming out, as well as the leaves coming out. And let's see, they like a tropical climate, and you can see we have this vining up here, and we have some clips on. They will definitely send out their own little coils and start wrapping around things very easily. But we took this out of the greenhouse, so we just used some clips to clip them up for now. But we'll come back later and we'll see this whole trellis filled with chayote vines. Now the reason I'm growing the vines actually is my friend in Hawaii, Ryan, introduced me to the chayote plant, and he grows it actually for the fruit. So in Hawaii, the chayote grows year round and will fruit, flower, and grow, and he'll sell the fruit to his local health food store. But the interesting thing is that he told me is that what's edible on this plant, and quite good raw, is the tips. So let me find a good tip here. So this is the tip here, the end of where the growth is ending, and the tip there is you just snap it off. So then I just snapped off the tip there. I see a bad leaf that I'm probably going to peel off before I actually eat it. So just peel that off, and this little tip here is quite edible and quite good. And the benefit is once you snap off the tip, basically the plant will Y off and make actually 2 more. So it'll make a lot more tips. So the tips are actually quite good. Also, this year I started them earlier in the season, so hopefully I'll get a full growing season, and maybe they will also go to fruit too. The fruit, by the way, can be eaten raw. Not quite my favorite, but definitely something unique and cool to be growing. Chayote squash. We'll go around on the other side of the house, and I'll show you some more established chayote that I have growing in a more shady location. This is a more sunny location, so maybe it'll induce fruiting and or growing more quickly. Here you are seeing big chayote squash leaves climbing up a bamboo trellis on the side of the house here, actually. And you can see the chayote squash. It starts all the way down here, and it's next to my extra gas meter. We have some of this cool variegated sorrel growing here, quite good as well. Looks really cool. But the chayote squash, if we move some plants back here, well, you can't really quite see the fruit. The fruit actually rots. The fruit was down there, but the fruit actually rots, and then the plant will actually take its place. But this vine actually just goes up and goes up and goes up and goes up. We actually one overwintered in the ground. The leaves didn't make it, but the root did stay alive, and you could see it. It goes all the way up to the ceiling there, top of my house. and we probably need to clip that back and get it to divide and weave it back down before it gets too high. But these things grow really fast, so here's another example of the tip here. And the tip, I'm just going to snap that off, and you can eat that tip. It's really good raw, great for salads. So chayote squash, excellent and delicious. It's definitely a vinding plant, needs somewhere pretty tall to grow. And enjoy your chayote. Oh, it does come in a couple of different varieties. They have green chayote, then they have spiny chayote, and they also have like a white chayote. I only ever got one white chayote that actually did sprout, but I find a lot of spiny and light green chayote sprouting. So the best thing to do is, in the store, don't buy one that's not sprouting if you want to sprout it and grow, because I'm not sure that it actually will sprout. But there's often times when I'll go through the whole stack of produce in the store and I will find one that is already sprouting. So find one that's sprouting, put it in the ground, put in some dirt. Why don't we go back in the greenhouse and we'll show you how to start them. Alright, we're in the greenhouse, and let's see here. So here's some chayote actually that I actually have buried. This is spiny chayote, and you can see basically it's the start of the plant, or the little stem is actually coming out, and this is the fruit. Part of the fruit you can see coming up is just basically buried, and this is spiny chayote. Here's another one here. You can kind of see the fruit starting to split open actually right here, and it starts to sprout actually. So if we go down one level here, you can see some more examples. This is just regular chayote. So you could actually see the way we planted this one is the fruit was much more exposed. We left actually half the fruit out of the pot here. And you can see here the stem of the plant just grows out of the fruit literally, and the roots grow down in the soil. So this just starts to go and vine up. And actually at this point, this one is ready to be transplanted out now if you needed to do that. So I have a couple other ones going in here. Here's another really good example actually. What will happen is the fruit will actually just start to rot, because the seed is what's growing. The fruit is just actually the carrier for the seed that provides the nutrition for the seed to grow. But once the seed is growing, the fruit's no longer needed, and it actually will just rot out. I see bugs will eat it, and it just kind of gets all funky. But this one is probably ready to go in the ground too. Chayote squash. Definitely, tips are edible raw. I mean, maybe the leaves too if you want to cook them up. But I'm just growing them for fun. They grow really fast. They'll fill in a trellis really nice. Alright, so grow chayote squash. Remember, you can grow your own greens. This is John Kohler with GrowingYourGreens.com.